All right, everyone. So I am Dwyght with Mack's Moving Training. Thank you for joining me in this live session. And we're going to just kick it off today. We're going to actually be going over um, how much should you pay yourself as a business owner? And I know it's a very, very tough topic. If you look on Google, it is hard to find this answer to, this question. And with that being said, just want to let you know this live is brought to you by Max Moving Training. We are a done for you service now, so just your extension of your training department that you either never had or wish you did have. We are here for you to make sure that your employees are trained and ready to go. All right. So with that being said, let's get back to it. So I'm going to have my notes here, just if you see me looking down and stuff like that, because I want to make sure that I stick to the topic at hand. And so just to start off with some questions. So do you just ever wonder if you should quit your full-time job and go full-time in a business? Can your business really afford you to go full-time in a business right now? Or how much should you pay yourself being in the business? Are you paying yourself too much where you feel like you're taking away from the business and the business is just suffering because you're not leaving anything in it? And as you know, for new business owners, we have to nurture that business. We have to, feed it, give it money so that basically it can thrive. Now, some of the topics that we'll be going over is more geared toward the moving industry, but this principle can be applied to other businesses as long as you know your numbers and your benchmarks. So, all right. So let's see what else we got. So I'm going to share my screen so we can see what this is actually looking like. Let's see. All right. All right, perfect. So you should see my screen now. Let's see, move some stuff around in here. All right, perfect. All right. So we're going to keep this very, very simple. Some of these numbers you're going to be able to find online to know how much you should pay yourself personally. And then basically this is going to trickle into how much your business should be making. Again, this session is going to be real short. I'm not going to go too in depth with the numbers because I don't want to lose people. But, for the most part, you're going to figure out over here what's the expense for your household. So tally up all of your personal bills in your house and figure out, hey, what do I have to pay out of pocket every month? From there, you're going to figure out, okay, well, hey, your living expenses, and hey, I don't make the rules, y'all, but your living expenses compared to your income should be about 50%. Your savings should be about 20% of whatever you bring in, and your spending money should be about 30%, which isn't bad. You shouldn't need to splurge like that. If your discretionary expense was 50 and this was 30%, you could be shortchanging your living style, and it's not wrong with that, but obviously you definitely want to be living comfortable. So with that being said, if it is 50%, let's just say for an example here, I'm going to only use small numbers. I'm not going to go crazy with it today. But if we use something like, maybe my monthly bills are like $2,000 a month. We're going to plug that in. And basically what it's going to generate is it's going to tell me that basically $2,000 is going towards my monthly expenses, $800 is going towards my savings, and $1,200 is going towards my pocket. So if you break that down across 4 weeks, that's about $300 in pocket money, $200 going into your savings, and about $500 going towards your bills every week. That sounds reasonable. Now, again, some people might have way higher expenses, but we're going to just use this number for an example today. Now, we're going to add in taxes and stuff as well, because Uncle Sam don't care, so we got to make sure we factor that in as well. So that's going to be about $4,720 that you need to make as a gross wage, so that approximately after taxes, your take home is going to be about $4,000. So that's kind of like where you're going to need to be in order to figure out, okay, hey, in order to make $2,000, put $800 away and have $1,200 to spending money, some comfort room. You're going to need to make this much per month. Now, if you're just starting out a business, likelihood your business isn't making that much money to be able to afford this on a monthly basis for you. Now, the rule of thumb is that owners should probably be making about 6 to 8% of the revenue that they bring in. Now, we're going to slide on over here to this funnel chart here. And with this funnel chart here, we're going to be able to see that what that 6 to 8% look like. Now, before we go over that, we're going to go over the benchmarks of things to consider. So again, this is really talking about the moving industry benchmarks, not any other industry. So, you're going to have to figure out what your industry benchmarks are, and then you can adjust accordingly. So with that being said, benchmarks, your revenue is going to be 100%. That's just, hey, your real revenue. So 100% for your revenue. Your COGS is typically going to be between 45 to 50%. And that's basically, COGS are going to include things like fuel, like tolls, anything related to the job that, any expenses related to getting that job completed. So if you rented trucks for that day, etc., that's all going into your COGS. Now, your mover expense, and why I separated it out was because we want to make sure that we're covering our mover expense, and our mover expense is part of our COGS. I just broke it out here, and that's why I put 50% here. And then you're going to want to pay them a reasonable wage. Otherwise, you're not going to have any movers. So that's something that you're going to want to consider. Also, you're going to want to consider your sales rep. If you're going to have any sales reps in-house where you're not the only one on the sales floor making sales, you're going to want to consider their pay. And then any general expenses. Any general expenses could be such as rent, subscriptions. What else could we think of? Insurances, anything that's not associated with the job directly. So that's going to tally up to about 35%. So that should leave you with approximately 15%. And that's a give or take. Some of these numbers will be subject to change based on the business, but this is just to give you a general idea. Now, your owner's pay. Now, you can, if you're part of the day-to-day operation, you can pay yourself in the general expenses, but you can also pay yourself on the balance sheet. So that's why I kind of separated it down here. So now we say that, again, going back to the benchmarks, that your owner's pay would be between 6 and 8%. We're going to use 8% on the highest level right now, just to get some numbers. So we put 8% in here, and it's going to basically say, in order for you to make $4,720 per month, and which tallies out to $56,640 for the year, and being at 8% of your revenue, so that you don't take too much from the business, you're going to need to make about $708,000. That's as simple as it would really get, letting you know that this is what you need to make to comfortably not be taking too much money from your business and come away with what you need to survive. This also gives the option for your sales rep to be making a lot of money. And I know you might say, oh, damn, my sales rep is making just as much as me. Now, they are working off a commission as well. Now, of course, you can get bonuses and stuff like that. You have room to get bonuses with the $49,560 left. So there is ways where you can incentivize yourself because you are taking the majority of the risk. But that's just for a whole nother topic. So now let's go over to the realistic approach in chart number 3, where we're saying, well, hey, let's say you still need to make that $56,000 $56,640. But your business, this is your first year in business, and you want to go full time with your business, but you realize that at the just going into it at the end of year 1, you only came away with like let's say 125,000. So at 125,000, you took about 40, that means you took about 45% of your business earnings to try to pay yourself, which in this case you didn't have to pay yourself. So you basically would have had to pull out loans, you would have had to pull out something in order to pay yourself. So you weren't able yet to go full-time in your business at this rate. Now, there probably are things you could probably cut. You want to hope that your rental expense wasn't that much, and maybe you were able to cut your rental expenses, your fuel expenses, your tolls, etc., to maybe 12%. You definitely can't afford to have a sales rep at this time because you're full-time in the business. What else could we cut? So maybe you're working out of your house and you don't have to worry about paying the shop rent. You don't have to worry about so many subscriptions because you're working from your house and that's all covered in that 56,000. So maybe we can cut that if we were able to cut that down by 12%. No, 27. So we say 15%. Then we are getting very close. We probably have to see what else we can cut. But if we were able to get that down to 12%, then you're in the surplus with the 125 and you can afford, but you're going to have to make major, major, major cuts in order to survive going full-time in your business. So possibly if you went full-time, went half-time in your business, half-time at another job, you could decide whether, that's an option to pay yourself. But yeah, that's the long end of it is like, you want to make sure that you're definitely maximizing your business and your business is thriving without you having to eat at your business. So let me just make sure I went over everything. Let me make sure. So yeah, so in this case here, like I said, if you wanted to potentially hire a rep, the last thing I will leave off with is you're probably going to want to be maybe around the comfortable range of 400,000 in order to pay a rep to come in. Now, a rep can be anywhere between 6 and 8%, depending on the type of bonus pay structure you have on them. Now, this is not a bad rep. A rep making $32,000 isn't a bad rep at all. That's decent. Especially if you want them to do the job for you where you're making $400,000, you want to make sure that, hey, they feel valued. So in short, yeah, ultimately, you want to make sure that, you're definitely looking at the numbers, making sure you can afford your household expenses, and, ultimately being able to pay yourself in the business. So the chart will be available. If you are interested in the chart, I'll leave it below the YouTube video that's going to be on YouTube, obviously. So like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, y'all. And I hope you got value out of it. Again, the chart will be simple plug-in. Just plug into where the yellow spots are. And basically you could determine if it's going to be possible for you to go full-time in a business. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. And I hope this was very insightful. All right, y'all. Take care.